This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. We're coming straight to you from the DCSS Studios, 606 Media Studios, powered by Chicago Sports Fan. Episode 272. We're fired up to get to deep dive into everything that Chicago. This background just literally threw me off.
What's going on?
I don't even know, man. These settings have all changed. They did a bunch of updates and changed all of my settings. But we're back. There we go. We're good there now. Remember, 606 Media is your ultimate source for all things Chicago. Don't forget to swing by 606media.com to snag your official TCSF podcast t-shirt or check out the exclusive For the Love of Line sports merchandise line. Show off your Chicago pride. And if you're at the live events with myself, Ivan, JC is going to be there when it's not a Sunday. JC made some nice shirts. Yeah, right there.
Oh, they look wonderful.
They do. It's got a big bear on the back. Just to let everybody know. I can't turn around. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, smash and subscribe. Yeah, I know Steven today. He's his throat's still hurting. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, leave us a 5-star review. It means the world to us, keeps us in the charts. Looking for more ways to get involved, support the show with a monthly subscription at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans. For as little as 99 cents a month. Every bit helps, keeps the conversation going. And while you're at 606media.com, you can check out the rest of the lineup and Podskater with myself. We deep dive into fascinating stories, engaging discussions, and insightful interviews. We also have No Water in the Weekend with Steven and Sean. Hopefully they did an episode because one guy's voice is gone. So check them out. Lots of comedy, lots of pop culture stuff. But let's get into what you guys came for, which is our Chicago sports recap and news. And let's start off with the breaking news that Dio for the Chicago Bears is out with an ACL injury. I know obviously everybody knows that the Bears won, but let's start off with the injury. Ivan, how big of a issue is this going to be going forward?
Well, I mean, with the lack of pass rushing that you already had, it's, losing a body is obviously critical. But if we're talking about, how is it going to affect? I don't think it affects it at all. Dio Odengbo wasn't achieving much.
No.
As a pass rusher.
That's what I was about to say. Like, it doesn't do shit.
Right. So it really doesn't move the needle any way for me. Now, Ben Johnson today talked about them probably pursuing players here with the upcoming deadline, looming. So we'll see. Hopefully it's a wild week before the deadline and we get a couple guys. I would expect them to be targeting a corner and a pass rusher for sure. But I don't expect there to be don't expect Myles Garrett. You know what I mean? Like, don't expect somebody's number one corner or something like that. Like,
you don't expect Crosby?
Yeah, expect guys that could, would potentially be under contract with us for a little bit, right?
Yeah,
somebody younger with potential. I would be expecting that instead of a big Myles Garrett splash. But, Odengbo, he wasn't achieving anything. He was $40 million that was being wasted because there was no production from him. So sorry that he's out. I wish that nobody, but okay, who's next?
Next man up, right? Well, I mean, he wasn't even on the lineup, and that's the biggest problem is that his cap keeps reaching higher heights as years go on. So him being out with ACL, who knows how long that's going to take him to get back on the field if
it's an Achilles.
It's an Achilles, yeah, but still, he's a big boy.
Well, Achilles are worse than ACLs. Well, I guess it depends on if you have the Aaron Rodgers Achilles surgery or.
That's where I was going with that. Yeah. Yeah. Moving on to what we all want to hear about. It's the Chicago's Bears victories, 47-42 in a wild card type of shootout this past Sunday. It featured a dramatic finish with 17 seconds left. Colston Loveland, the tight end rook, 6 catches, 118 yards, 2 TDs, hauled a 58-yard bomb from quarterback Caleb Williams to win the game. Williams threw for 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, while Kyle Manungai, my guy, Take that from Ivan. Rumbled
My
for
guy, Kyle Manungai. That's right.
yeah, my guy Kyle Manungai. He gashed him for 176 yards in place of injured starter DeAndre Swift. The Bears are now 5-3 in the season. But let's start off with some good. The running game, explosive. The offensive line was able to push and get Manungai open. Manungai made all the right cuts. He was barreling through guys, getting to the second level and popping them in the face while doing so. Not scared for the big moment. Not scared to take the rock and say, "Hey guys, get on my back. Let's go. I got this." This was the Manungai game, and you can't be happier than Ben Johnson being able to run the ball and establishing the run very early and not letting go of it, because in prior games he goes away from the running game, and as you can see, the Bears offensive line can handle the running game, and Manungai going forward should be your number one running back.
I totally agree. And weirdly enough, Kyle Manungai has the most rushing yards for a rookie since Anthony Thomas, the A Train. When he did it against who? The Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. I think he had 185 yards at that. He broke Walter's rookie record. I think it was 175 actually, or 176 at the time.
Okay.
But A Train, clipped it by 10 yards or something like that. But regardless of that, it's Kyle Manungai's vision, his explosiveness, his never say die type of running style. It's a mentality. You have to want that you have to want to be that type of back in order for it to work. And you obviously you have to have the physical nature in you as well. But Kyle Manungai, man, yeah, absolutely. I've been saying it for a while. I was like, where's Manungai? Where's Manungai? Why isn't Manungai there? And you could see great things not only in the running game but in the pass pro, right? In pass blocking.
Yep.
Kyle Manungai, if you didn't see that last play, the touchdown to Komet, Kyle Manungai picks up the safety blitz as they're in they're in the form. I forgot the formation, but you got a bunch of defenders looming around right by Colson Loveland. If you want to go look at the play, and here comes the safety as he disguises. He backs up a couple and then comes, and here comes Kyle Manungai from left to right, picks up the blitz. And who knows? I know the offensive lineman, he was there, but he looked like he got beat off the edge. So who knows if Kyle's not there? Maybe that ball doesn't get off. Maybe Caleb's hit, whatever. But going back to what he did, totally in the run game, it was something impressive, and it's something that needs to continue. He needs to be the back. Put him as the number one. Put Swift as a change of pace. I think Swift fits way better as a number two.
Yeah.
And let Kyle eat.
JC.
I think Kyle Manungai heard what I had to say last week and wanted to shove it down my face. Because if you remember last week, I kind of said, he's 5'9" and not the guy that, we need to run it down people's throat and be physical. Coming out of college, yes, if you watch his tape, he is a physical runner. But there's a difference between being a physical runner in college and of being a physical runner against the top 1% of players in the NFL. And Kyle Manungai is making me eat my words today, because I said that I don't know that he can be at 5'9", the kind of running back we need, like a Marshawn Lynch, to make guys not want to play football. To be a guy that's going to hurt the defense and wear them out, and just as the quarters go on, start running more and more and gaining more and more yards. He made me eat my words.
In the words of Michael Jordan, he took that shit personally.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And he did. He actually literally hurt multiple Bengals defenders on back-to-back runs. I remember the first one, bam, you see a guy go down, cornerback. The second run, the linebacker was like, what the fuck? He looked like he got rocked. He
popped his helmet off, man.
In another place. But yeah, I wanted there to be a emphasis at not getting away from the identity of your football team. And not only did you not do, you stood true to what you are, you found a gift, a guy that's not, like I said, he's first contact, he's getting yards after. The first guy, even if he is there, he might not make the tackle because of how the slow center of gravity and the strength Kyle Monunga has shown when running through tackles. It's impressive to see. Like you said, he's a shorter back, but the power, the strength, and quite honestly, impressive agility and speed are just were on display on Sunday. And man, if it wasn't for him, I don't know, man. I don't know what goes on. I don't know if Swift has that type of game against the Bengals. I just don't know. I don't think so.
I think Swift plants his feet really quickly. Whereas if I was watching a little bit of the highlights where Monunga is kind of giving choppy feet as he gets the ball, really high choppy feet, and then when he sees the hole, he plants, pushes off, and he's gone. Like once he puts it into third gear, he is gone. And after that, if you can't catch him, boy, that boy's gonna run right past you. So he did everything right. Great pass protection from him. I was able to understand what his role was this week. And again, he should be the feature back going forward. Swift's going to be the change of back pace kind of guy. With Ben Johnson having more opportunities to use these offensive weapons, as you see the game plan is starting to progress and open up week by week because he's starting to trust these guys. We didn't see a running game in the first couple of games. 8, 10, 15 runs, and then you never saw him again. And it was all Caleb at that point. So you're seeing Ben Johnson make his adjustments game to game, based on who the opponent is. And he's learning from his mistakes too. We have to understand that he is a rookie head coach. And now that he has to take care of all the bells and whistles, it all falls on him. So when they don't do one facet of the game, it still falls on him. And speaking of facets of the game, me and Ivan were irate yesterday during our live event. Special teams. First play of the game, they run it back and get 7 points. That's number one. Special teams part number 2. 2 missed field goals. Unacceptable. It looks like his groin is still bothering him. The second field goal, he didn't even look like he didn't run. He just took like half steps and then half kicked it. It just didn't go anywhere. It's just every time we kick the ball off, they're getting 20 and 30 yards every single game, and that needs to be fixed. If we gotta go to Jake Moody, we gotta go to Jake Moody. I think Cairo might be done.
I was texting with my guys in the group chats yesterday. And after watching Cam Little kick a 68-yard field goal, I basically said, have we had enough yet of a guy who cannot kick 53 yards?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
I
know Moody is not the most accurate kicker that, he had a rough going in San Francisco. But the fact of the matter is that the guy can at least hit 57 yards, where we know Cairo Santos in a wind cannot kick more than 53 yards, period. End of story. And even the 53 yards is questionable. That he can barely make 48. We've seen it time and time again. The guy does not have the leg. We need to address it in the offseason. Yes, we paid him. I don't care. It's time to get someone who can kick 57 to 58 yards. I'm not asking for Cam Little. I'm not asking for 70-yard field goals, okay? I'm asking for someone who, if we get to the 40-yard line on the opposite field, to be able to potentially hit a field goal. And that is not, Cairo Santos cannot do that. Unless he is within the 30 to 35, you are risking everything.
And he still missed that.
Guy can't do it.
He still missed under 40. Ivan, I want you to talk about what you were talking about at the live event about who is responsible for all these gashings on special teams and these errors on special teams.
Well, it's a special teams coach. It's Hightower. When the opposing offense starts at the 40, what do you think the pressure is on the defense now? And we already know the deficiencies of the defense for the Bears, right? now you're putting them with good field position right across the, just looking over the 50-yard line to get to your, to get over there into your territory. What are we doing here? Why can't your guys stay in their gaps, in their lanes? Why is it so hard to have a disciplined unit when you're only out there for a limited amount of time? You cannot make a mistake. First play of the game, the guy takes it to the house. And then when we need you to stop them, when we need you to keep them within the 30 or less, you continuously give up 40-yard gains. Like I said, they're starting 40, 45 every single time, it feels like. Right. And I know it might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's more than I would like. Way more than I would like. So, yeah, you gave Hightower this shot. You kept him along. Like I felt like he was doing okay job, but it just doesn't seem like it's working right now. It doesn't seem like whatever is going on, whatever you have to tell your team, do it, because right now it just seems like a very undisciplined unit, and it's fucking us. It's really screwing us late in games, especially close games.
Yeah, it really is messing up, putting a lot of pressure on the defense. If all they have to do is get 30 yards and they're in field goal position, and they don't really have to worry about any other pressure. Anything else after that is gravy, from the opponent standpoint. Before we go on the defense, let's talk about the Bears offense. Caleb Williams, like I said, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, 20 for 34. That's pretty good numbers. Let me tell you right there. That's pretty good numbers. DJ Moore, 1 for 1, 2 yards with a touchdown to Caleb Williams. So not only did he throw 3 touchdowns, he caught 1. Tyson Bagent with a trick play for 20 yards. One guy we talked about is 176. Caleb Williams had 53 yards rushing. Britton Brown, a sighting from Britton Brown, and he ran pretty good. He spelled Monangai 5 times for 37 yards, 7.4 average with a touchdown. DJ Moore also had a touchdown rushing that he reached across the goal line, and it was almost a safety, right? So touchback. I'm sorry. Yeah, you definitely got lucky with that one. Colston Loveland comes into the game and starts making plays and catching the ball, where Cole Kmet had some back issue where I know that
it's a concussion. I think it was a concussion.
Yeah. Was it? Yeah. Well, he got rocked on that play that Caleb threw a little bit behind him that he should have caught.
Yeah,
it was a little behind. It was, and it set up his receiver to get Cole Kmet to get rocked, and he ended up going. He's in concussion protocol, so he'll be gone for next game for sure.
Well, maybe they're saying, like Ben said today, that they're gonna take, so obviously they got to evaluate through the week, and hopefully he comes back. But obviously you can't speculate with the head injuries. Yeah,
you never know with the brain. Loveland was the highest receiver with 6 receptions for 118, 2 touchdowns. DJ Moore had 4 receptions. Ozzie had 6 receptions with 58 yards. Caleb had 2 receptions. Monangai had 3 receptions for 22 yards. Again, look at the rookies putting up numbers for the Chicago Bears. This is the new Chicago Bears, okay? And we're going to continue to say they're the new Chicago Bears because everything from this point forward is brand new. And you might have to clean house with some of the old dirty laundry that's still laying around on the floor. And what I mean by that is players that are not holding their weight, not being able to do what they're supposed to be doing, like stay on the field, like Roshan Johnson. That's a person you should be cutting right now. Cairo Santos, all right, move on. Get a new kicker, cut him. Again, you've got to move on to allow the offense to have a lot more of these players that are going to contribute on a week-to-week basis. Roshan Johnson's played 1 game. I can't remember how many games he played last season, and some of the nerds out there can correct me on that. But you have a lot of new toys with Monangai, with Ozzie, with Loveland, with Adunze, Britton Brown, that can carry your team. You have a lot of great weapons. Now, I know we're missing a couple players on offense, but I wanted to focus on how Rome is having these issues catching the ball. That trick play, and what was it, the second play of the game, where Cole Kmet throws it and it hits him dead in the hands and he drops it. That is an issue. Rome had 0 catches. I can't remember the last time he had 0 catches because he is Caleb's favorite target.
JC?
I mean, you know, I think you guys just shared, you know, was it Rome's father talking about statistics and everything else? I mean, listen, I mean, last year Rome definitely had some dropsies. This year he's been pretty freaking solid. So I'm not gonna worry about that right now.
What about the
Yeah.
contested catch rate?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
last year he's third. This year he's 78th. So when guys are on him, for me, if you're going to be the number one guy, you're the number ninth overall pick. You need to make those catches. We saw T. Higgins, and I know T. Higgins
Mhm.
and Roma Dunze right now, I guess, you know,
Light
are at
years
a
apart.
different level.
Yep.
But you saw T. Higgins should have dropped at least 3 of the balls that he was hit on, you know, when guys were right on him, and he made the catch. And on one, he caught it and scored a touchdown all in one motion. So, like, I agree that Rome isn't like this black hole of a wide receiver where you can't go to him, but like there needs to be a point of emphasis. Get stronger when you're going and attacking the football with somebody on you. You have to make those catches because eventually, you know, there have been big plays, right, or critical plays that he's dropped that would have changed the dynamic of the drive, maybe the game. And it hasn't been a lot, but it's been enough to where you're like, hey, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, we would got a touchdown in that first drive instead of a field goal.
Okay, but let's also bring up last year Rome was clearly a number 2 wide receiver on the team. This year he's been used more as a wide receiver 1. Is he getting more double coverage than single coverage than he did last year? So now he's got 2 guys on these potential, you know, jump balls versus last year when he was the number 2 wide receiver, he was in single coverage going against 1 guy. So
But this hasn't been double teams. This has been one guy on him, and he's dropping the football. Like you've seen it yesterday. You've seen it in the Saints game. You've seen it.
I'm just playing devil's advocate of, you know, could there be reasons why the you know, catch rate has been dropped, you know, this year from, you know, 4th to 77th? Yes. I mean, you know, he's going against the cornerback 1s now instead of cornerback 3s or cornerback 2s, you know. So I'm not trying to make excuses, but it's one of those, like, are there reasons potentially why? Yes, but I agree with you guys. He has to do better. And, you know, I also, you know, looking things up, you know, Big Z, as we were talking about cutting guys, Cairo Santos, if we cut him in the off season, essentially we would have dead cap of 1.1 million. We would save 2.6 million.
Goodbye.
So, yeah, I'm all for, you know,
He has his groin injury back. Boom, put him, stash him on IR.
If we cut him this year, he's due 2.1 million in dead cap, and we would save 2 million. So, but we're already, you know, what, 9 games into the 17 game season. So, you know, we potentially could cut him and, you know, save a lot of money and just keep going to Moody, which, you know, I don't know what Moody's contract is. I'd have to sit here and look it up.
What about Roshan?
Let's see, Roshan.
Because that's the issue. And then after that, we'll move on.
He's low money anyway. I'm looking it up now. He's only getting paid 1.2 million this year. If we cut him, his dead cap was 384,000. Cap savings would be 837,000.
Poof, be gone. Poof, be gone.
Yeah, but is it worth saving 837,000?
It's not about saving it. It's about the roster spot. Because I want Britton Brown backing up these 2 running backs. That's the reason I want him gone.
Well, they could do that anyway. They can send, you know. Yeah, I mean, they could definitely cut him and or inactivate him, and Britton Brown could be out there for sure. You know, like I said, for 837,000, you know, you're not really getting much money back, but yeah, you could do it for sure. Next year would be more beneficial cutting him because your dead cap is 190,000 and you're saving 1.1 about 1.15 in salary cap. Which again, not that much in savings, but you know, the big one that we're going to be looking at is Tremaine Edmonds. Because that cap savings is huge unless we extend him. Because dead money on him would be 2.4 million, but we would save 15 million. So and Tremaine has been playing very well.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where it's like, what do you do there? Because that's quite a bit of cap savings, but at the same time, he's due 17 million. So unless you extend him and spread it out evenly over, say, another 3 years or 2 years, that one's going to be a rough call on if we want to pay him 17.4 million next year.
We've spent dumber money on worse players. So let's just, you pay the guy who actually plays well.
Well, he's 27. That's why I said, we can extend him for another 2 years, keep him till he's 30. And like I said, spread that money out over the next 2 or 3 years. So instead of, having a $17.4 million cap number, say we bring that down to like a $14 or $15 million average.
Okay.
And save yourself some money that way.
I mean, that's more talk for the end of the season, and I know the trade deadline is coming upon us tomorrow. I believe it's at 3:00 Central.
Yeah, DJ Moore took a salary cap. He reworked his contract to get us some money so that we could potentially go out and sign some guys. However, Jalen Phillips has already been traded to the Eagles. The Ravens have already made a trade from, I forget if it was Tennessee or somebody else.
Yes, Tennessee.
They got a player for a 5th round pick. So already, these playoff teams are making moves where the Bears, are dragging their feet.
This is Philadelphia's 3rd or 4th move this season. So, I mean, they're active.
And they're good moves. I mean, you're bringing in guys like Jair Alexander, who was an all-pro corner a couple of years ago. Granted, he's kind of fallen off in the past year or two, but still a solid player, potentially, if he can get back to his former self. You bring in Jalen Phillips, who is a great defensive end, for a 3rd round pick. And then they brought in a couple of Tanks Bigsby to back up, Saquon Barkley. They've done a lot of moves in the past year where it's like the rich just get richer. And again, the Eagles are a semi-young team. They don't necessarily need to worry about draft picks.
But the Eagles are in win mode now. Here's the difference. The Eagles are in win mode now, so they can mortgage the future to win in the present. We are not there. We are not going to mortgage a high draft pick for a rental because we're not there yet. Let's just be honest. And I know everyone still has their Bears glasses that we're going to the Super Bowl. That's not the case. All right. There's a lot of holes. And that's where exactly what I wanted to talk about is the holes on defense. Because if you're giving up 42 points and expecting the offense to bail you out on a week-to-week basis, you have something mistaken. Ivan, talk to me about this defense giving up 42 points. There's supposed to be a bend but don't break, but it seems like a Swiss cheese.
No, it's just they need to play all 4 quarters. That's what I want them to do. That's what because the past couple weeks they haven't. They played 3.5, 3 against the Ravens. They played maybe 2. So I want them. It is if you heard Chase Brown and Jamar Chase like. After the game, they were pretty pissed about their defense. But I agree with Chase Brown. Finish the fucking game. It's right. Finish the fucking game. That's what you got to do. And I wouldn't condone players doing that, like saying that shit to the media in the locker room but they're a dysfunctional organization as it is. But it's the truth. Defense, finish the game. Get 4 quarters. We play 4 quarters in the NFL, right? That's what you play. Not 3.5, not 3, 4. So we keep seeing these lapses, towards the end of the games, towards the end of the halves. It's like, to me, you're taking time off when you can't afford to. So again, they need to step up. They need to step up. I want to see the defense, pitch a shutout. But again, there are still deficiencies that people can exploit, and it sucks because you can't do anything. You can only do so much with the roster. until next season. But again, finish the game. That's what I want from them.
Definitely finish the game. Again, 42 points. We still had 2 takeaways and one that was called back, which would have been 3 takeaways essentially. Well, I don't know, maybe because that was on the same drive. But you're looking at 2 takeaways and still giving up 42 points. Obviously, our secondary is hurt. It's depleted. These guys are playing out there, and CJ Gardner-Johnson had 5 tackles, 1 assisted tackle, and 1 sack already. He's already in the sack conversation of team leaders for sacks. Is that not sad? This guy's been out there 4 quarters with our team, and he's already in the sack conversation as a team leader. Like, come on, let's be honest here. They don't have a pass rush guy. They don't have a guy that gets to the quarterback, which is going to alleviate the pressure on the linebackers and the secondary. That's what you need. That's what you need. Somebody get to the quarterback. And I know Sweat was there and Edmonds was there a lot. Even Booker got a sack, but at the same time, come on, man. We know what we need. We need a dog, and me and Ivan were talking about it at the live. We need some dogs, and CJ Gardner's bringing that dog mentality because he's hungry. He's coming off the street, but he's bringing a dog mentality that I'm going to play physical. I'm going to play every single second of this down, and I'm going to get after it. And that's what the defense needs. I'm sick of this bend and don't break. In the second quarter and the fourth quarter, where they're just playing a soft cover 2 or cover 3 or a high man spy, whatever it is that they're playing, it's too soft. We saw what happened with the touchdown. They're playing coverage, and the receiver just sat down right in the middle, and everyone just like, wait, where'd the ball go? Oh, it's in the end zone. You can't be giving up 30 points in the second half, 14 within what? 50 seconds. That was ridiculous. An onside kick, ridiculous, just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, let's give credit where credit's due. I mean, Cincinnati has 2 fantastic wide receivers in Chase and T. Higgins, and old man Flacco made pretty good work of our secondary, 470 yards passing.
Yeah,
I mean, and that is with a sprained AC joint.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can talk about, personally watching that last pass by Joe Flacco. I know he was rolling out for the Hail Mary, but to me, like, that particular pass looked like that AC joint sprain. Because I mean, I think he only threw the ball for 36 air yards. So, and we all know Joe Flacco can throw a ball further than 36 yards. So I think that particular Hail Mary pass was a little bit of an issue with the AC joint, but I mean, he balled out on us, and let's face facts. I mean, our secondary is beat up right now. Missing Jalen Johnson, no Kyler Gordon, it's hurting us, and we're still out here making plays. We're still taking the ball away. We're still getting turnovers. But the fact of the matter is we are playing just good enough to barely win. So all together, as Ben Johnson said in the after game, we don't apologize for wins. A win is a win in this league. But at the same time, as a whole team, we still got a lot of stuff to clean up. Still having a lot of penalties and everything else. One more little tidbit. While I was in the contract lookups, DeAndre Swift next year can be cut for 1.3 million to save 7.5.
That's happening. That is so happening.
So that's a little interesting tidbit. I happened to look up that we could save 7.5 to spend 1.3. And we'll just have to draft a guy or sign somebody, who is more of the, Knuckles and Sonic.
Yeah. I know Ivan's got to head off to the Steve Edwards show in a minute. So, Ivan, give me your closing thoughts on the Chicago Bears game.
A win is a win, right? I agree with Ben Johnson there. But it's just got to be better. And, as happy as I was that we won the game, I was very upset with how we gave the game away. And that's just something that can't happen. That team was beat. That team should have been put to rest in probably the third quarter. But again, you allow this team to come back, either whether it's defense, offense, special teams, it's just too inconsistent to say this team can make a deep run. You know what I'm saying? That is a playoff contender. Because right now, you're fighting to be one. You're scratching and clawing just to keep yourself in the hunt. But again, if these continue, these mistakes, not capitalizing on other teams' mistakes, it's going to come back to bite you. So
couldn't agree more. Ivan, thanks for joining us from the Tape Never Lies. I know you're going to go see Big Steve.
I'm going to eat first, and then I'm going to go see Steve.
Yeah. And then next week, we will be at Caso Humilde in Forest Park. Me, Ivan, and Big Steve. I know JC works, so we'll be there. JC, you can go ahead.
See you later, guys.
I was gonna ask Ivan right before he ran off. One thing, right before the Colston Loveland touchdown to win the game.
Right.
One thing I've been noticing with Caleb as he's rolling out to get away from a sack or running scared for his life and rolls out, he tends to turn his back to the defense. And then as he's spinning out to, get away from a sack, which honestly, in my opinion, he needs to learn to shuffle up in the pocket, left in the pocket, right in the pocket. This whole of him constantly spinning and turning his back.
The same thing, man.
But it's one of those little things that's irking me of dude, the pocket is not that bad. Learn to maneuver within the pocket by stepping up, shifting left, shifting right. This whole where he turns his back and rolls out and then just literally turns right into a defender. It's
his instinct. I get it. I know how it obviously if it drives you wild, what do you think Ben Johnson feels like, right?
I know. It's just something that drives me nuts when I'm watching a game, because it's at least 2 or 3 times a game that
he gets away from the defender.
But not only that, it's one of those where it's the guy that he's so worried about that he starts rolling out, gets picked up, and then it's dude, the pocket was clean.
No, I agree with you. The offensive line has been pretty good. I would say I would rate it a good solid B on the offensive line and protecting him. That he holds the ball very long. He looks at read 1, read 2, read 3, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go," because he's so shell shocked from last year. Let's be honest. He's shell shocked from being last year 67 sacks or whatever it was. Yes, that's traumatic injury right there to the brain. I need to get rid of what I need him to do, which he has grown this season. It's slowing down from him. Here's what I do see is that he has learned the offense, but he's not ahead of the offense. What I mean by that, he is not throwing his receiver open because he knows what the play is on defense, and this is how my offense is going to adjust, and my guy's going to be there. I'm going to do my count. It's going to be in rhythm, and I'm going to throw the ball, and my guy's going to be there. That's what he's not at. He's waiting to see if his guy's open and then making that adjustment. By then, the defensive back, the linebacker can catch up to the ball and make a play on either the ball or the offensive player. That is the difference. He is still playing a little bit behind the offense, and instead of being with the offense or ahead of the offense by dictating what they can do, he has moments where he does that in the red zone when he tossed it to Loveland, the touchdown to Loveland. He used his eyes to move the linebacker one way and then bam, right down the middle, a bullet. Can he do it? Yes. Easy, getting better every week. Yes. 3 touchdowns, 280 yards. It's getting better, guys. You can't fault him for everything. His numbers are getting better. We're winning games. We won because of him, because of his offensive acumen and be able to execute it. So at the end of the day, he won the game for us.
Yeah. No, again, for me, it's just like I said, when it comes to him escaping the pocket, Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was one of those guys, same thing. He likes to bootleg or roll out of the pocket. Baker does the same exact thing. The only thing is with Caleb that it's one of those, as you're watching the play, the pocket is not that bad. Like he gets spooked by one guy off the edge who gets picked up, and then all of a sudden he's rolling out, and then he rolls right into two defenders to get sacked. And again, it's just one of those to me where it's like, again, I just feel like you're in the pocket. You need to learn to roll, you know what I mean? Like move up and to the left or up and to the right to get away from, these defenders that are coming off the edge, rather than turning your back to the defense where you no longer know where the rush is coming from. Not only that, now you don't know where your wide receivers are because you have turned your back.
And it takes more time to look to, lock your eyes with the receiver. I get that. It makes total sense, JC. I agree with you.
So again, I think like if and not that I'm a coach of the Bears, but to me, I would be like, dude, we are working on foot drills all day and your footwork in the pocket and getting you to learn to move up and forward in the pocket rather than rolling backwards, like bootlegging out of the pocket.
And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if he starts doing it. He's going to start running before he throws again. Because right now he's trying to extend the play and big gain hunt, GAIN, big gain hunt. That's what he's still doing. When he rolls around like that, where you're talking about, he turns his back and he gets away from the defender, and he has to take two seconds to relock eyes with his wide receivers to see where they're at. And then he overthrows it. Yeah, that's going to happen. Instead of taking the check down where, Swift or Monunga is right there 10 yards away from you, and let them do the running for you. Get the yak from them. You don't need the 60-yard pass.
Perfect example was Joe Flacco. How many times did Joe Flacco check the ball down?
Yeah, well, he's 20 years in the league. Come on. He's seen
it. Again, it's one of those where, some of these older vets know, hey, if I get the ball into my playmaker's hands, it's better than me having the ball in my hands and running it.
Yeah, it's a lot less stress on you. Yeah, definitely.
Well, not less stress, but some of these guys they can cut better, they can maneuver, they have better vision and eyes and are faster than you.
I mean, less stress. Like, I'm not gonna get sacked. I'm old. Do not sack me. That's what I'm talking about. Quarterback stress is that the thing? Let's close out the Bears segment with next week's opponent, which is the New York Giants, and the Bears are at home. It is a noon game. So let's see where are we at. Giants, November 9th, 12
I think it's a win.
That's got to be a win. They're 2-7. You're at home. It's going to be about 30 to 40 degrees. I think that's what it looked like. It's going to be bear weather,
Yeah, but with the big thing is without Cam Scadaboo, they do not look like the same team.
No.
Scadaboo brought a different physicality to that team and a different spark to that team. Without him, I don't see the Giants as big of a threat putting up 30 points a game.
It looks like they can only score about 20 to 24 points a game without their number one target in Scadaboo. And you know what? I really think that, if we get a couple more healthy bodies next week on the defensive side, and we continue to run the ball, take time of possession, and just have Caleb. I don't need him to be Superman with the cape next week. I need him just to be consistent, hit your checkdowns, hit more accurate passes to your wide receivers. Stop putting them in harm's way. Make sure you make the passes that are going to get the chains to move up and down, up and down. I know you're going to take a shot. That's fine. Taking shots is fine. It opens up the offense. But definitely, please be more accurate. That's all I'm asking. Everything else has been great. I know we're talking about the running around like like a 2-year-old with a cookie running away in the kitchen. That's
if you watch his footwork as well, Caleb's footwork, there's a lot of passes where he is not throwing from a good foundation.
No,
he's throwing with his, instead of his left foot forward, right foot back, in a proper, almost like a baseball stretch position, throwing position. He is throwing, almost from
shoulder. Yeah, square shoulder. Yeah, 'cause
square
he's
shoulders
he's
with
relying on his arm.
both of his feet together,
Yeah.
facing towards the line. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's hard to describe without photos, without video. I'll have to see if I can find some video evidence of it, and we can play it next week. But a lot of times, like his footwork and little things like that, it really does affect his accuracy. And like I said, it's the little things that he needs to work on to become that top tier quarterback, in my opinion. He has all the talent in the world. You know what? We all see the difference between Justin Fields and Caleb Williams. Now he needs to polish his game and become a gem.
Yep.
He has the talent, he has the arm strength, he has the capability to read a defense. Now it's how do we go from being 63% completion to 70% completion? How do we go from, missing by 2 yards to completed pass? It's that little bit of accuracy that's in things that need to be polished up and fixed.
Yep. So we'll see next week what happens at the lakefront against the New York Giants. I'm predicting a win. You're predicting a win. And we will be at Casa Humilde in Forest Park. I will post all the details on our Instagram and our Facebook page and my personal. I know JC has to make the big bucks on Sunday, so definitely.
Yeah. No. One thing that does worry me about this Giants game is Brian Burns and Thibodeau. Their two edges are pretty solid, so that's a little worrisome.
What's up, Israel? Thanks for joining us. And Crooked Commish, thanks, bros. Yeah, bear down. It was a great win. It was one of the most exciting roller coaster games. I know Ivan almost had a heart attack. But yeah, Scottibush. He was Scottibush. Yes. So we will be right back with the Madhouse on Madison report. See, I got it right this time. And we'll talk about our two teams that play on at the United Center. So we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey there, Chicago enthusiasts. Are you ready to take your fandom to the next level? The True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast has got you covered with some serious cool merch that screams Chicago pride. From cozy sweaters to trendy tank tops, we got it all. Show off your love for the city with our iconic red, white, and blue logo, or stand out with our exclusive collection for the love of sports. Whether you're lounging at home, breaking a sweat at the gym, or cheering on your team at a game, our gear is a must-have for all you diehard Chicago sports fans out there. Don't hesitate. Visit bonfire.com/store/606-media-store/, or simply just click the link in the description and snag your gear ASAP. Get ready to make some noise, show your pride, and embrace the Chicago spirit with True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast merch. Designed for you, the ultimate fan, for the love of sports. Hey guys, it's Steven.
And this is Sean, and you are listening to True Chicago Sports Fans.
Don't forget to listen to No War on the Weekend. New episodes on Monday. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, so we're going to go do a couple of shots. So let's kick it back over to Big Z.
Back to the TCSF podcast. We got JC, Dynasty Fantasy Football, in the house. And it's time to talk about our teams that play on Madison Street, the Madhouse on Madison report. And we're going to start off with our Chicago Bulls, who just took their first loss up in New York. It was a game they were without Io, so you've seen a lot of the bench players get in there. But the team looks very, very good. And just like JC 80's words about the Bears, I'm eating my words. I'm eating crow when it comes to the Bulls, because these guys are playing very, very well.
I was going to say, I'm eating crow with the Bulls as well, because did I not say last week, trade everyone but Gideon Buzelis? Now all of a sudden it's like, the team wants to come up and play,
Yeah, they're playing
very honest. We look at the Bulls team and it's pretty much the exact same roster we had last year. But so far this year, they look like a team that knows how to play together, and they're 5-1, is it?
They are 5-1. The win against the Knicks was here. It was a home and home,
Yeah, they
but
played the Knicks twice.
the first one was part of the NBA Cup, so that's huge. So and again, we're looking for small victories. So if they can, get into the hunt of the NBA Cup and get something like that, and I don't want a banner. Okay, we're not LA, we're not LeBron. We don't care about a NBA Cup banner. But I'm saying you get these guys into winning formation, into winning culture. And again, I've never been a fan of Billy Donovan. I know he's a Hall of Fame coach, but I am not a fan of him because he can't handle superstars. He has a bunch of tryhards right now. He's got a bunch of young players, and that's where he succeeds in when he's teaching. That's what you're seeing with the Chicago Bulls. He is teaching them his system where they move the ball and they're supposed to be cutting, more of a college offense, moving around, cutting. You're playing fast pace. Here's the thing: we have bigger bodies that can rebound, right? Vooch is playing very great, and I guarantee you he's going to get traded now that he's playing great. Teams are already inquiring. We're a week in. They're already inquiring because they understand the value of Vooch in an offense that if you run the offense through him, he's a double-double machine. And again, he is an expendable piece because we have young guys that need playing time. We're not going to be playing for anything. Let's be honest, all right, guys? We're going to be playing again. I don't expect us to get higher than a 7th seed, so expect that. But again, the Bulls have been playing very well. You're looking at Okoro, we got from Cleveland in the Lonzo Ball trade, had 14 points. Buzelis, 14.7 rebounds. Vucevic, 17 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists. Giddey, we knew this was going to happen. We see how young and talented this dude is. Giddey with 23 points, 12 assists, and 12 rebounds. He is third on the all-time Bulls list behind Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan in triple-doubles already. That's something, and this is very early in his career. He's only been here for about a year. Trey Jones has been playing great for us, playing the point guard. He's a true point guard. He had 15 points, 5 assists, and 2 rebounds. Patrick Williams has been playing decent. I know everyone's on Patrick Williams, especially Stacey King. He loves Patrick Williams. I do not. But he's been serviceable. He's got 11 points. My biggest thing with Patrick Williams is he cannot get dirty in the paint. He likes to throw a little floater or stay on a 3-point line. Dude, you're big. I understand the NBA has changed. I know, guys, the NBA has changed. But I need more rebounds from Patrick Williams. More rebounds from Patrick Williams. What's his height? Do we know? I think I got it right here. I got it up here.
Let me look it up. I'm already on the Bulls.
He's 6'7".
Yep. Well, Chicago Bulls or is it Bulls.com has him at 6'6".
Okay, so he's 6'6". Yeah, I was looking at his whatever the sports page that has all the stats. Okay, so he's 6'6". Come on, guys.
My problem with Patrick Williams is look, we've had him how long on this team? He's 24, and it just his game doesn't seem to be progressing.
No,
like I'm not seeing the talent get any better. It's one of those where I think what we're seeing out of him is what he's going to be. And I could be wrong. We've seen a couple players leave the Bulls, and all of a sudden they're superstars. But I think what we're seeing from him is what we're going to see.
The Bulls are building a reputation to be winners again. I mean, right now they are. Yeah, one of the hottest teams. They're 5-1. Yeah, definitely one of the hottest teams. But we'll see what it's early in the season, guys. Yeah. There's going to be tape on these guys. There's going to be tape on the rotations. There's going to be tape on the way that they run their offense. You're going to see the league adjust to them in about 10 games, and then it's going to be different. And then not to not to throw a negativity in there, but ever since the scandal came out about the betting, you've seen a lot of people try harder and be truer to their numbers than before. So the NBA is going to be changing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we have not had Kobe White back yet.
Right.
So, I mean, getting him back is going to help. But, as we're talking about the Billy Donovan situation, right? I think getting rid of a lot of the veterans that we had,
yes,
helps because a lot of the guys we had, the ISO ball kills what Billy Donovan tries to run.
Correct.
You know, it's ball movement, it's shifts, it's everything in between.
And that's why it
And
fell apart. When you lost Lonzo Ball, it all fell apart.
Yeah.
That's to your point. It's movement. We're running fast pace because they had a true point guard. Once they lost their true point guard, Zach was like, "Well, I'm dribbling till there was 8-9 seconds left, and then I'm going to force it. And if not, I'll just toss it to DeMar. He'll make the shot. I'm not worried." And then when it's too much iso ball, and that's why Sacramento is struggling. I haven't checked the score for today, but yeah. I mean, it looks like a college team that can run up and down. They're able to shoot. Now, here's the thing: they lost that game against the Knicks because they shot the lights out. They shot lights out from three. Let's see. You had Anobi with 21, Kyle Anthony Towns with 20, 15. You had Jalen Brunson. I think he had like 15 in the first quarter. It was ridiculous. He ended up with 31 and 5. Mikal Bridges, 10, 9, and 5. Jordan Clarkson, 15. Josh Hart with 14. And then nobody else really that's of mention down there. But their 3-point percentage was ridiculous. And it kind of calmed down at the end because, it was kind of a blowout. But they shot 23s. They made 23s out of 42. And that's what got them in the game, ahead of the game. But they were 22 for 22 in free throws. That's 22 free throws, free points. Come on. The fouls is just ridiculous. The Bulls were 9 for 11.
Free for them, not necessarily free for us.
Yeah, we were 9 for 11. That means you're not driving to the hole.
No, I meant specifically us. Like I can't. If you asked me to hit a free throw nowadays, I'd probably look like Shaq out there.
I'll still be like Jordan. I'll still switch it. I still have muscle memory. Once in a while I'll throw a couple shots up, but it is muscle memory. And believe me, I get scared, especially because every year there's a new class of kids that try to challenge you, and I'm only getting older. So
yeah, I was that way with volleyball. I could crush kids in volleyball, but like I said, like when it comes to basketball nowadays, like I don't shoot enough. I don't,
I need to start getting into
more now than I'm playing basketball.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Golf is more my speed these days as I'm getting older.
Yeah, we definitely do that. Yeah, and again, I need to stay with the youth, and I put up some more shots. This coming couple of weeks, actually this month, because we're going to be moving into the basketball unit. But what do we got here? Okay, all right, that's bowling. That's for tomorrow. Let's switch over to the other Chicago team, the Chicago Blackhawks, who have been playing pretty good. They were another hot team. So, JC, you got anything on the Blackhawks?
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, this is the team of Chicago right now. All things considered, I mean, they're not getting the hype they need to right now. The Blackhawks are winning. They are playing well. And, as of right now, like, there's not, as far as I'm concerned, like, there's not enough hype on sports radio about how well the Blackhawks are playing.
No, I mean,
the record is 5-4-3, right? It's the record is not great, but considering what they were last year to what they are this year, I mean, it's improved, tenfold. I know, like, the Jets took it to us a couple games ago.
Yeah, 6-3.
But we're seeing a lot closer games this year than we did last year. 3-2, 3-1. Blackhawks win 7-3 against the Senators. Yeah. Blackhawks win 3-2 against the Lightning. Blackhawks win 2-1 against the Ducks. So, I mean, last year when we're watching, we went to a game. It was like 6-1, 6-2. It was a blowout. I mean,
go to the bar. Hurry up.
and it was rough to watch last year. I mean, because again, the one game I attended, like, their outlet passes, a lot of the fundamental stuff was not there last year. And again, we know the Blackhawks are going through a rebuild. We knew that last year, and we knew that it was going to be tough going. But it really looks like the team is coming together this year. that they are playing much better fundamental hockey. And that's all we can ask is, as we progress through this. I mean, Bedard had his first hat trick. I believe it was last week, but I think it was after we did the podcast. So, let's give him his kudos this week and, talk about the fact that he had his first hat trick. Steven's more of the hockey guy and everything like that.
I mean, there is some news. I know they recalled Oliver Moore, their first round draft pick. He had about 9 games, a cup of coffee with the Blackhawks at the end of the season, but he was with the Rockford Ice Hogs, which is the AHL affiliate. He's getting called up today. He's going to be available against the Kraken, so they're playing over there in Seattle. And again, that's probably that's cool
today at 9 p.m. So
it's 9 p.m. So after we jump off this, I'm going to have one TV on football, and I'm going to have the other TV on the hockey game. So it's going to be a late night while I cut up clips. Again, what we asked for from the Blackhawks is we need a better defense. We need bigger guys out there to protect Taves. I'm sorry, Taves. Why am I saying Taves? Taves because they were in Canada.
Better you say Taves than toes.
Toes, I know. Come on, I'm not that ignorant. Yeah, we definitely need to protect. I'm drawing a blank now. Thanks. Because you mean Connor Bedard. You need to protect Connor Bedard. Again, we have a lot of young guys. You need to be able to give Spencer Knight a lot more room to work with. He did have a couple of goals last game. I was watching it at the bar, and one went through the 5-hole, and it shouldn't have went. And I don't know, like it was about being deflected, but it really wasn't. It went through the 5-hole. So again, we need more defense to show up for these guys because we're gonna see these guys score goals. All right, so pay attention to the Blackhawks, the up and coming team. I'm glad the Bulls are doing well. I'm glad the Madhouse on Madison Report isn't a bummer to listen to and watch. So again, watch your Blackhawks, support your Bulls right now that they're doing good. But I'm happy. I'm happy that these Chicago teams are doing well. So we have some notes on baseball. And the reason I have
I have a note on baseball for sure.
I know you have a note, but the Los Angeles Dodgers, my second baseball team, won their back-to-back championship in one of the best Game 7s in a long time. That Game 7 was you're on the edge. It was great. Extra innings. Every game but one was very intense and very watchable, and one of the highest rated MLB World Series in such a long time. What I'm worried about is what's going to happen in about a year and a half after next season is that strike that's looming because of the salary floor, salary cap, and some other issues that they're looking at. And it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem because the sport is starting to grow and people are starting to watch again. It's exciting. And it's exciting when you have young players that have pizzazz, flash, and have a brand. Vladimir Guerrero, obviously a legacy player. Bo Bichette, legacy player. So you have these guys out there. And obviously we're talking about Shohei Ohtani and Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts I think he has like 4 World Series or 6 World Series. I can't remember at this point. But you have these guys that are brands and they're recognizable. And that's what baseball needs. Baseball needs more faces to be up front and push the product, right? If I were to tell you, pull up, I don't know, one of the Tampa Bay players. See, I don't even know a Tampa Bay player. It has to be a little bit more parity among the league. There's gotta be 2 or 3 players that you can say, Frank Thomas and Robin Ventura and Jack McDowell, they're on the White Sox, and Andre Dawson and Mark Grace and Ryan Sandberg, they're on the Cubs. Like these names, and they roll off the tongue. 2, 3, 4 guys that are on each team. You don't have that right now, and baseball's slowly building to that, and hopefully,
no, it's not. It's going in the opposite direction.
You think it's going in the opposite direction?
Absolutely. The only reason why I watched this World Series was for the Dodgers to lose because the Dodgers spent $1 billion in salary
on the
to
rotation.
buy every single good free agent there was.
Okay.
And they nearly lost. And I was so happy to
But
see
they won.
it.
But they won. And the story, they won. They spent the money well spent. They got their money back already.
And I understand that. But at the same time,
You're just mad the Cubs didn't do it. You're mad the Cubs didn't spend the money. You're mad the Cubs didn't do
what
the
I'm mad at is that it ruins it for any small market team. The Kansas City
I don't
Royals,
want to hear that because there's shared revenue. I don't want to hear that. There's shared revenue, and this is
I understand there's shared revenue, but there are also teams that do you think that the Kansas City Royals can spend $1 billion on
yes,
salary?
because they're owned by Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes is not a billionaire.
He put in like $350 million to that team or something like that.
Yeah, and he only has $500 million.
Okay.
Look, the bottom line is there are owners like the Dodgers owner that can afford to spend $1 billion in salary, and then there's owners that can afford to spend $250 million. Barely.
You again, and the reason they can spend is because they got a great deal on their TV rights. They have their own channel. They got
also, if you go look up and we, I was with my guys over the weekend. We were watching Game 7 while playing poker and having a guys' night, and we looked up. It was how much of the revenue is spent towards payroll, and the Dodgers were like at 73% of revenue gets spent on payroll, so where everyone else was like below 30%.
Yeah, so they put their money back into the product.
Exactly. And look, I don't fault them on that, but again, it's the way that the money is being spent, how it's being paid out, that the fact that players are not being paid for another 11 years or something like that.
What do you mean he's getting paid? It's just on the back end.
You know exactly what I'm saying.
But they've already made that money this year in advertising for Ohtani and selling his jersey. They've already made that money and then some. So they just put that in the bank and make some interest on it. And then when it's time to pay him, here's your money, bro. We've already made tenfold on you. Thank you.
Yes, I understand that. But what I'm saying is the MLB needs to do something to correct.
You got to close
how much money can be deferred. How, is it 20 million a year? Is it 30 million a year? There has to be a cap. We can't just be like, hey, Ohtani, we're going to sign you to a 10-year deal, $1 billion, but we're not going to pay you till 32.
I agree with you, JC.
And only pay your descendants.
I agree with you, JC. That loophole should either be closed or limited to 5-year time limit after his contract is over and limited to 40 million. Okay, cool. Whatever. 40 million, that's nothing, right? 4 years, that's like $10 million a year, right? That's nothing. That's peanuts in comparison to what happened.
To me, like the team should have to have a responsibility, because I think is it the NFL or one of the leagues, once they sign the contract, like that money has to be set aside for the player. It's not one of these like, hey, we're going to pay you 20 years from now. Like, no. You signed the contract. That money needs to be put in escrow for that player right then and there. Like the actual, I'm not talking signing bonuses and all that. I'm talking agreed upon
yearly
contract money goes into an escrow right then and there.
You're talking AAV, right? You're talking about the AAV. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I would have to look at the CBA for the MLB. I'm pretty topical about it. I know a lot of stuff about it, but I don't know the intricacies, especially if the AAV needs to be put in escrow, so that way that money's secured.
Yeah,
but
like I said, I don't know how it gets fixed. I just know, for the fairness of the game, for the.
But JC, you have owners who don't want to spend. We have one here in Chicago.
Listen, I'm not saying that. I'm saying for me as a fan, I just think that, again, as we say, there's a salary cap and then there's a salary floor. Yes, there's a salary cap of we can only spend $230 million a year, but it's not in the spirit of the game when that salary cap is deferred 20 years down the road. You know what I mean? Because at that point, like there is no salary cap. Like it doesn't exist because
No, there is no salary cap. It's a luxury tax, and that's also you can still play around with that. Again, you know, if it happens one time and it happens second time, it's a penalty. And for teams like for the Cubs, right? You know, if
again, like how does that? And maybe it's look. I'm very good with the NFL salary cap. I don't know much about the MLB. So my whole point is if Ohtani's salary is $3 million a year, but he's deferred all this money till 2035 or whatever the hell it is. The bottom line is, how does that work into the luxury tax in the MLB? And again, I am not, I've told you, like, you know, I went over the salary cap stuff, you know, for the Bears and all that earlier. I could tell you a lot about, you know, the salary cap for NFL, but when it comes to MLB, especially with this deferred money, I don't understand how that works.
All right, so it's the what is it called? The competitive balance tax or luxury tax for short, right? The threshold's 241 million. So
correct,
right? So you've
but
got
is
over
that on like say Ohtani's 3 million salary, or is that deferred money factored in?
No, you're looking at AAV. So his first year where it was nothing because he was gonna have he had those legal issues and whatever all the other stuff, and then it kicks in on the AAV going forward, right? Payroll threshold again was 241. A team that exceeds the threshold must pay a percentage of the amount it is over the limit. Progressive penalties. First year is 20% tax. It goes up to 20 million. Second year is 30% tax, up to 20 million. Third year consecutive, it's 50% tax, up to 20 million, increasing on higher overages. So there's a lot of ways to penalize that. I still think it can be a little stricter. I think it's, you know, first time 25, second time 40, third time should be a 75 tax just to deter them from continuing to do that. Again, but then this goes all into the collective pool, and guess what? Now the Pirates are getting more money and they're spending less. So how does that work, JC? You got to spend.
Look, I'm not disagreeing with that. Like there needs to be a better.
There needs to be a floor,
salary cap floor.
Yes.
You know, where, hey, look, if we are giving you all this money and, you know, shared, you know, pool, then yes, you need to spend more on your players. And look, I understand that. I'm not disagreeing with that. You know, hell, I'm a Cubs fan, and I've said that the Cubs are not spending enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, but they're also at the salary cap where they're going to go into luxury tax, you know, constantly. So it's one of those.
Yeah, it's going to happen this year, and we'll get to the Cubs for a second. But yeah, they didn't want to go to luxury tax for the second time this year, and that was one of the issues. Why are they nickel and dime to get these bum relievers, and that you see what it costed you? There's another penalty if you go over the surcharge threshold by 40 million or more. Your highest draft pick gets moved 10 spots. That's a nice penalty. I like that penalty. So,
but again, I guess, and this is where I keep coming back to, is that the Dodgers are staying under the luxury tax by only paying Ohtani $3 million.
Let's see, Ohtani, where is it? Salary. For the current season, he receives $2 million. Okay, and then he'll be paid out with the remaining 600 of his total salary to be paid out.
So essentially, how the Dodgers are getting away with this, because again, like their payroll, like so, Glasnow's 32.5 million, Snell is 28.4, Ohtani 28.2. You know, it's one of those where, you know, looking at their, let's see. Yeah, so their adjusted payroll total this year was 350 million. But it's one of those where, you know, although they're saying Ohtani is getting paid 28 million, I think his base salary is like he's only making like $3 million a year. And then that deferred money kicks in, I forget how many years down the road.
Yeah. So his AAV is 28 million. So it has to count against the cap. Let's see.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
So again, and that's something that again I was unaware of, is that even though the money is way down the road, the AAV is still 28 million, so
Right.
it is counting against the cap, and that's what I wanted to understand
Right.
is that you know does his salary only then count against the cap when it gets paid out in like 2030, or is it going against the cap now? So glad we're
Yeah.
getting that all figured out.
Yep. Well, that's clear. Um, Cubs. They swept with Gold Gloves. They landed 3 Gold Glovers. Pico Armstrong. Duh. Nico Hoerner. Yep. Ian Happ. Yep. 3 Gold Gloves on the Chicago Cubs. That's well deserved. Way to go, boys. I mean, that's one of the strong suits was the offense. The offense, the outfield and that defense. So I'm glad Pico Armstrong, PCA got a Golden Glove, Nico Hoerner, and Ian Happ. So definitely a cool thing for the Cubs to look forward to. I mean, they have a lot of stuff to talk about in the offseason about the Cubs, and we're not there yet. But we will if there's anything that breaks. On the White Sox, no one got a Gold Glove. That's okay. Tim Oka underwent ACL surgery. He is the draft pick they signed about 2 years ago, and he was brought up a couple times. But yeah, so he should be on the mend, and hopefully he can compete for first base next year. If not, go sign Kyle. I would love to see Kyle on our side. Either Tucker or
Yeah, no, I was gonna say with losing Tucker, what I would love to see is like Saya play the outfield and maybe bring back
you're gonna have Alcantara.
Schwarber.
No, we're gonna get Schwarber. You don't need
You
Schwarber.
shut your mouth. Schwarber was my guy when he was here on the Cubs.
Schwarber's my guy.
Honestly,
I'm
like
a Sox fan.
I thought Schwarber was one of the best eyes in baseball. Like he took a lot of, when he was with the Cubs, he took a lot of walks. And I thought he had a fantastic eye. And then he got injured, and then when he came back, like he struggled there for a while, and now he's just crushing balls again. I would love to see Schwarber come back. Will it happen? I doubt it.
Probably
You
not.
know, I don't like the idea of paying Tucker and that aspect. I think the money would be better spent, spreading it around to a couple positions rather than paying one guy. Like I said, I'd like to see a couple relievers. I'd like to see another starting pitcher. I know there's so far there's rumor of Cease coming, or there being interest in Cease. Like I said, I'd like to see that salary that Tucker's trying to command go to 2 or 3 players rather than one player.
I completely agree. I thought you while he was a good addition, because we talked about it a couple weeks ago where I thought, when Theo didn't have his contract, he was balls to the walls making moves to make the team better, to win now, to secure a contract. Once he got his contract, he was like, yeah, we'll take a reliever, 2, 3 relievers from the White Sox, one former White Sox reliever from Washington, and the bench guy over there. Yeah, Willie from Minnesota. Everyone else got traded but you. Come on over here. Yeah, he literally was at the thrift store looking for pieces. So I don't want that.
Like, look, let's be honest. The thrift store pieces helped us along. They were slight upgrades to what we had. The drunk uncle, was it Ratledge? I think it is, or Rutledge, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I mean, he did okay for us. Was I always forget how to pronounce it. Padrea.
Was it Pedro? No.
He was the reliever that like we started doing like the light show and the music and.
No. Let's see. Palencia.
Sorry. I couldn't think of the name, but I mean, again, so like those two guys, in my opinion, were slight upgrades to what we had. But yes, I mean, look, when we were hoping for some trades at deadline, it was not necessarily what we got, that what the fans were hoping for. And like I said, when you're sitting at the salary cap threshold and, you don't want to go into the luxury tax and everything else, because let's be honest, the Cubs are cheap and, it is what it is.
Yeah, but they'll raise their ticket prices next year and charge you $18 for a 22-ounce beer.
Well, listen, I don't know about you, but I find games where I don't pay that kind of money. So
There you go.
I tend to find games where it's like, a ticket's $40, something like that, and call it a day.
Yeah, that's why you got to come to the south side next year with me. $40, man. We'll sit down real close.
I usually sit like third base side, in the 100 range.
Yeah.
Usually for about $40. So can't complain. Like I said, it might be on a Tuesday or a Monday, whatever, but 120 game. But usually the prices for the Cubs, unless it's a night game or a weekend, usually the prices, you could still find some decent games here and there, in the way of prices for tickets.
Well, the baseball's 6 months away, so I miss it already.
Yeah, well, like I said, unfortunately, with with the state of Chicago sports, it's like, what do we have to look forward to? It's like, like, yes, the Bears are winning, but it's one of those where it's like, you also look at the roster and know, like, okay, we're not a Super Bowl contender yet.
Right.
Like we're getting there. We got the coach now. We have some good pieces in Rome and all this stuff. The Blackhawks are improving. The Bulls are winning. So it's like the state of Chicago sports is in this weird kind of, like, I don't know, like, I want to be excited and happy, but at the same time, it's like I've been kicked in the balls so many times over the years that it's like I know the hurt and the letdown and how many times I've wanted to cry in the corner.
You're like,
Like Steven on his birthday
today. Some Johnny Cash right there, man.
That, it's just one of those where it's like, I'm excited for the future of what Chicago sports is. However, I'm very hesitant to jump both feet in.
No. None of us are jumping 2 feet in any one of these teams right now. And that's just the sad state of Chicago sports. But JC, I think we're gonna cut it here. It gives you time to do what you got to do. I got to cut up the clips for the fans and get the rest of my night ready. But thank you for jumping on. Thank you to Ivan from the Tape Never Lies. Once you jump off here, people, go ahead and go and check him out at the Tape Never Lies Network. We will be doing another live event at Casa Humilde Cerveceria and Cocina. So it is a brewery, and they have a great kitchen in Forest Park, 7700 Madison Street in Forest Park, Illinois, 60130. We'll be there for the next 4 weeks. JC, are you gonna make that Friday game, that Black Friday game? I think it's a 2 p.m. game.
What week is that?
It's right at the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I don't know what day that is.
That's a Friday.
You know what? Yeah, but do you know the date?
Oh, yeah, I can pull up the calendar for you. That takes 2 seconds.
I was gonna say, I'm pulling up the calendar, but there's no there's no dot
28th.
to be like, hey, it's a holiday.
No, the 28th.
28th. I'll see if I can request it off.
Yeah. So we definitely because it looks like they play the 23rd and then the 28th, and then we have that weekend off, which is great.
Yeah, I'll see if I can request the 27th, 28th, 29th. Do like a little 3-day weekend. I'll put that in tomorrow. And
sounds good. Sounds good. All right, y'all. That is it for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you are subscribed and following us on all of our socials, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. go ahead and check us out. TCSF Pod on Twitter. Everywhere else, it's True Chicago Sports Fans. Just type it in there and you'll find us. If you want to talk about a certain topic, you want to argue with us, argue with JC, hit him up on his handle right there, JC Dynasty FF on the X. You can hit me up at Big Z _606 media on all of my handles. So you want to hit me up for that. If you want to talk about something else, hit us up on truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. All right, for Ivan and JC, I am Big Z. We'll see you next time for episode 273, which will be next Monday. But again, check us out for the live event, Casa Humilde in Forest Park, and we'll post the location and the flyer for you on our socials tomorrow. So I think it's time to go, and I think you guys should have a good night. All right, JC. Until then, be good to each other for the love of sports.
Swish.